Woo! Take 3.
All right. You mind telling us your names and where you grew up?
My name's Jalen Thomas, and I grew up here in Portland.
My name is Troy Douglas. I was born in Portland, raised out in the suburbs in River Grove. It's a little town between Tualatin and Lake Oswego.
River Grove? Okay.
So still rich area.
Yes. Yeah, still a rich area, I suppose. Yeah.
Oh well. What is something about Portland that you guys love?
You got it?
Yeah. What is it that I love about Portland? I love that there's, compared to a lot of cities, big cities, obviously we're a smaller big city, but there is a like center around environmentalism, and I appreciate that about Portland. We recycle a little bit harder than our friends down in California, and I think that's very important.
Mm-hmm. I would say diversity. Like, you see everything. You know what I mean?
Because Portland's like not known for its diversity. So.
Oh yeah, no. I mean, I would say diversity when it comes to not necessarily like racial diversity. I mean like diversity of like your like people, the way they live. Like, there's so many different types of life. There are different types of life, and like everybody's so accepting to it, or a lot of people are, and very like progressive and like live your life and do your thing. You know what I mean? Whereas like other places that are like, oh no, this is the way this place is. Like California, they have their thing. New York, they have their thing. Whereas like Portland, Oregon in general, you can literally be anything and anybody you want to. So it's like diversity in that sense. So,
do you think like do you think in like the last since you guys have been here since like a young age, like you've seen it change a lot more, or is it going more this diversity route, or is it more like kind of staying the same as it was in the past?
I would say it's hard and interesting because it's like Portland's always kind of been like this, but now with social media and like us being more in like front of the world after like the riots and everything, now people see Portland as like this like scary place, but it's like bringing more attention to Portland. So like a lot of people are moving here, and it's just bringing more light, and so it looks scary sometimes or looks like different from the outside, but it's like the whole world really. We're in a transition period of like, oh, it's different and it's scary and it's new, but it's opening the door for like more diversity, you know what I mean? And like more accepting, like more, walks of life. So I wouldn't say it's gotten like worse or better, but just definitely there's more light shined on it,
Okay.
So.
Yeah, I guess in my perspective, it's the city has changed just because, like Jalen was saying, there's a lot more focus. 5-10 years ago, we were sort of this. Portland was painted in the national media as this like hipster like mecca. Like, come to Portland. This place is amazing. This place is great. And then you turn on the news the last few years, and it's like Portland sucks.
Yeah.
It's like the worst place ever. So you get this like crazy polar perception of Portland, and we've never quite been either or. It's always been something in the middle. So it's changed. Like, I've definitely watched Portland change, and it's just there's a lot more people that are coming from other cities that are here. So that would probably be the biggest change I've seen.
Have you guys seen Portlandia?
I haven't heard of it though.
Okay, like before coming here, like I watched it and I was like, there was no way Portland's like this. And after like few years, I was like, yeah, this is 100%.
Oh, for real? It's accurate?
It's accurate, but they like obviously dramatize it to like the extreme, but you could see someone totally doing this in Portland.
Yeah,
though.
yeah.
Like, there's one episode I really like that's just like, it covers people on bikes here. And it's just them yelling the whole time at cars and just being like, I'm right behind you, I'm on the left, like I'm making a turn, and like he takes the bike on the bus and he's just yelling as he tries to go through poles and seats.
Yeah, that's hilarious.
But I think another question is like, so I think for both of you guys, like what inspired Troy, obviously, like what inspired you to make Back to the Basket? And obviously you had Cultural Blends too before that too.
I think, at Cultural Blends, we had a store over at Lloyd Center, people aren't familiar. But yeah, that store was a buy-sell trade format store. So we had sneakers on the wall, we had sports, football, baseball, hockey. But like, when I was selling the hockey stuff or the football stuff, there was like no true connection for me. It was just kind of a resell aspect, which was new for me at the time. And you know, I love basketball. You know, that is a true passion and a true love. So when Back to the Basket was formed, it was formed under that same identity of like, we're going to be a buy, sell, trade format store, but it's going to be just something that is like truly something I'm passionate about. And it was at the time, and still now, it's the game of basketball.
Oh. Yeah, because we were Ball Was Life before. And that's like, you got to tell them about the story, like how that was birthed, like the Ball Was Life thing.
Yeah.
Like that's how, like, you know what I'm saying?
Oh yeah, bro. You know, our store, for a lot of people that don't know, that are just like discovering, you know, the store. Our store was called Ball Was Life, you know, and it was kind of a tongue-in-cheek name off of Ball Is Life, and everyone knows in the basketball world, everyone knows who Ball Is Life is. But you know, it was Ball Was Life was our store name, and the reason it was called that is because like at the time, I think I was like 32 or 33, and you know, I love the game of basketball, and I was just getting to an age where I was just becoming a little bit past my prime, so there was just this tug and pull of like, you know, am I still young or am I an old guy or what is this being, you know, this age?
Ball Was Life.
Yeah, so that's where that Ball Was Life came from, and then obviously we got a cease and desist from Ball Is Life, which kind of was a you know, a road bump or whatever, but we traversed that, and that's how Back to the Basket came to be.
Nice. Well, I mean, you guys have come a long way regardless, and like now you guys have a store in Hawthorne, and it's like probably one of my favorite stores in the entire Portland. But another thing is like, how did you guys meet each other?
Crazy story, actually. So during COVID, right, when everything was shut down, like everything except grocery stores, we got our first stimulus check, and I was like, I'm gonna go find some shoes for myself. Like, I was like, I'm going on Facebook Marketplace, offer up, looking for shoes. And then so I found a pair of shoes. It was like the Black Cat 3s, right? They were like $60, and I was like, there's no way, like they have to be fake. So I met up with this dude. It wasn't Troy, but I met up with this dude. They were real. Bought them, sold them for $160 the next day. And so I was like, oh, I'm gonna start reselling. And so boom, I start reselling off the stimulus check. Troy hits me up about a pair of shoes, and so we meet up. And then so when we meet, we're talking, and then he actually has the tattoo of Cultural Blends, the logo. And this is when Cultural Blends, this was before Back to the Basket was open. And so it's funny, he actually got the tattoo from, what did you say you got it for business meetings, right?
Yeah.
When you go shake people's hands?
Yeah, it's like for good business, you know. I just always was like, good business, you know.
So he has it on his hand for when he shakes people's hands. He shook my hand when we met on the sneaker meetup. I said, what's that logo, bro? I've seen that before. He said, we have a store in Lloyd Center called called Cultural Blends. And I was like, oh, I think I've heard of it, blah, blah, blah. And he was like, yeah. And then he was like, oh, you play basketball, right? And so this was like when I was playing. And so I was like, yeah, like, how do you know? And so we knew mutual people, and I didn't have a job at the time. So I was like, hey, man, you hiring? Like, you know, when you guys open back up? And he was like, oh, we'll see. He was like, we'll see. Yeah, come through, like, you know, chop it up, hang out, whatever. And so I just like kept following up. And then fast forward, he was like, yeah, actually, we're opening up a basketball store. And he's like, I need some hoopers, you know? And I was like, all right, bet, yeah, say less. And so came in, you know, looked at the shop before like anything was set up. Like, yeah. I think you didn't even have the space yet. Like,
we did. We just had nothing.
Okay, yeah. Okay, so like the space like it just got locked in. There was nothing in here but empty racks. Yeah. And then so came in, looked around, and I was one of the first, you know, employees here. And then from there, the first. And then so yeah, from there, like we met up from the sneaker meetup, and then he brought me over here. And then boom.
But tell the story though, because it took a while. So Adrian, I had the keys here in this space for 3 months. It was probably like 2.5 months. So I was already paying rent. Like it was like, you know, can't say how much, but I was paying rent for a couple months before we were able to open up. And in those couple months, you were kind of like, you were drifting.
Oh yeah. Because so I was playing overseas at the time, and so like when you play basketball overseas, like you're jumping from team to team, country to country, and so I'm traveling a lot, and so like I'm not working, but like I'm playing basketball. And so like when you come home from playing, like you still have to, you know, if you don't get picked up on a team, you have to have a job when you come back home. And so I'm just like doing little stuff here and there. And then so as he's opening, he's like kind of opening, like soft opening, and like, you know, getting it all set up while I'm still playing.
Mhm.
And then so boom, he's like, yeah, I come in. He's like, yeah, you know, we're talking about getting started and everything. And then now I have to go to Europe for a month. And then so we like are getting the ball rolling, getting it started. I have to pick up and leave for a month. And so now I'm gone. I personally thought he was gonna fire me at the time. I thought he was like, "Hey man, you know, we're trying to get it going. We're trying to get it going. So you know, I'm gonna, you know."
No, but the important thing, what I was referencing was in the summertime when you were like, "Okay, I'm gonna hit him up one last time."
Oh yeah,
that's what I mean. Yeah.
Yes. So Troy, busy man, right? Business owner, like. I get it, you know,
because I told
I'm texting him. Yeah, I'm texting him, and he'll reply like every now and then, once every like, you know, third text. And so I'm texting, calling, going into the shop every now and then, and he's like, no, yeah, like keep following up. I was like, I'm gonna send one more text, and if he does not respond, I'm done, because like I was just following up so much. And then so I sent one last text. He replied right away. He was like, yeah, pull up to the shop tomorrow, which is now back to the basket. And then so I was like, if he doesn't reply, I'm done. So if he didn't reply to that text that day, I would not be here right now, because like I wasn't gonna, like, you know, I had to figure something else out.
Right.
And so yeah, sure enough, he replied, pulled up the next day.
Yeah,
we got it going.
Because it took like 2.5, 3 months of having the keys to the space to actually get everything set up in here at the other shop. And it was just like, you know, everything in here is self-funded, you know what I mean? So like all the inventory and stuff, we kind of had to pull some from the other store, had to like basically dump as much money into inventory buying, and then just set up everything, you know, from, you know, just like the fixtures to the Wi-Fi, that type of stuff. It just took longer than expected, and so that's why there was a delay in getting back to Jalen, because like I didn't have any, like, when he was hitting me up, it was like nothing had changed, you know, for for a long time, and it was just like, but thankfully he, you know, messaged that one last time, because we'll be here.
Yeah.